Hi, everyone. Mitch from PickDogs.com here with Joe Madden for your daily show here on PickDogs YouTube channel. Of course, we're live across all of our social media channels now. And, well, it is another day in the life here of a sports bettor. NBA regular season coming to an end. All 30 teams in action today. Got Major League Baseball, all teams in action as well. NHL, I'm sure they're playing. Let me see.
Million games today. No, there's not too many in the NHL today.
Seven,
It's
seven
a lighter
NHL.
schedule. Yeah.
Seven NHL. So 14 games in action. Looks like I don't know. Looks like wow, we got a big underdog there in the Carolina Anaheim game and a big underdog in the Tampa Bay Buffalo game. Here if there's any value at all there. Maybe we might even ask the Magic 8 Ball. Who knows?
One of
But
those dogs are barking today.
all right. Well, Joe's gonna let you know who that is. And we've got a bunch of handicappers here with us, and got Mills will be here. He's a little under the weather, but the thing is that big MMA card last night. Love to get his thoughts on that as well. So yeah, let's bring in the group and a little bit, quick discussion here, and then we'll get rolling with the picks. I know that's what you guys want to see. So it's the last day of the NBA season. Obviously, some teams have something here to play for. As before, we were talking about teams getting into the play-in round. We were talking about teams getting into the playoff round. But now it really is a focus. Like, you can really see it now. So in the West, the Timberwolves are playing the Clippers in the first game. The winner gets into the playoffs. The loser plays the winner of the second game, and then the winner of that game goes to the playoffs. In the Eastern Conference, nothing has been decided. So they're playing today to get into a game for a chance with one win and you're in. The idea is of being one of those top two teams, the 7 and 8 spot, which I don't know. I thought the regular season was a play-in. It's not anymore for some reason. But the way that it works is that if you are one of the top two, the 7 or the 8, then you get two cracks at it. If you're a 9 or 10, you get one crack. If you win the first game, then you still got to win another one too. So definitely a big advantage to the teams that should be in the playoffs anyway. And I believe in all play-in scenarios, the higher seeds have advanced. Doesn't mean they covered the spread. Al's checking this thing, but I don't think he has enough data as far as play-ins go to really have a big thing.
We've only had 1 year, so
right. So that's what I was saying. He doesn't have he's like, we can extrapolate this over, but we can't even do that. There's nothing really to even do there. But clearly teams with something to play for, and clearly teams with nothing to play for, and teams that have played all season like they've had nothing to play for. So we've had, we kind of have had it all. And, yesterday we kind of agreed on a bunch of games and disagreed on others, and we all agreed on the Grizzlies, and that was good. So we put everybody on a nice winner there. 141 points. Who knew Ja Morant was going to play? Wow. What a shocker that was. Really busted him up. And, we gave out, everybody agreed. It was rare. It was rare.
No, we didn't agree on that, but that's okay.
Sure,
me and Joe had the losing side on that.
We held hands and made s'mores around the campfire. It was beautiful.
You got me there. You got me.
No, we all agreed. There's
no, we didn't agree.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Okay, I can do s'mores with Brian.
It's like we always people are always under the impression, it's like, why don't you guys all agree on every pick? It's like, I don't know, because we're different people with different methodology, I guess. Anyways, we have a bunch of NBA. We'll talk about some other topics too. The Masters. Tiger Woods, obviously, he's not going to win. But, he has certainly shown some toughness here. And, man, I can only imagine, It's like similar to Ben Hogan, right, who was in a massive car accident and came back and won. So Not this year for Tiger, more than likely. But man, if you grabbed his irons, you see the guy paid $54,000 for his irons when he won the Grand Slam. He sold them for $5 million plus.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Wow.
He had him for 12 years. He paid $54,000. He sold him for $528, $5,280,000 or something.
Good investment.
Insane.
Well, he said it was kind of like it was one of those things where he's just had it sitting on his wall in a frame, and it's just like, you know. Anyways, let's talk about lots of fun stuff to talk about. But we've got the NBA today. We got some 3:30 p.m. starts. The way that they've kind of tried to match this up is the teams that have the meaningful games all play at the same time, which is kind of like the way the NFL does it, which might be the one thing the NFL gets right, but it's unfortunately rarely do those games mean all that much. It seems like some seasons they do and some seasons they don't, but it's the teams that have the meaningful games in that same, they're all in the same slot. So it's the Nets, the Hawks, the Hornets, and the Cleveland Cavaliers that are the 7, 8, 9, 10 teams. Right now, it's the Hornets that are 10 and the Hawks that are 9. So those two teams, if they were to meet in what would be the second play-in game in the East, would be in Atlanta on either Wednesday. Is it Wednesday or Thursday? It's one of those 2 days. And I believe it's Wednesday. And then they would play, the winner would play in the loser of the Cleveland Nets game. They would play them on Thursday. So I think they play on Tuesday, and then the second game is Wednesday, and then the last game is Thursday or Friday. Let me check it out again. The guys at Sports Chat are all over this. Yeah, it's Friday is the final play-in games, Friday, April 15th. So it's Tuesday is that first round, and that is the Clippers, Timberwolves are locked in the West. The Pelicans are playing the Spurs on Wednesday. And then in the East, we'll find out today what the seeding is. But these are the 4 teams. And right now, the way that it is, the Nets would be hosting the Cavaliers, and the Hornets would be on the road at Atlanta on Wednesday. And but there's only one game separating Cleveland, and the Nets have the exact same record. The Hornets and the Hawks have the exact same record. And those two teams are only one game behind the other two. So this could really flip-flop all around today, and they're all going at the same time. So none of these teams are playing one another today. So what does that mean for their opponents? We're going to find out in a hurry. Joe Madden, what do you think of these 4 games?
You know what? I look at these 4 games, and I'm looking at a lot of totals in here, looking at the Indiana-Brooklyn Nets game and really thinking we have a higher scoring one in there. We see the Pacers playing just a lack of defense overall. So I can see that one going over the total. I can see Cleveland as well dominating in that game against the Bucks. I think we don't see a strong of game out of the Bucks, and Cleveland gets a nice win and cover in that one. And then Atlanta and Houston, give me Atlanta laying all those points. I think they come out and dominate. I'll lay the 12 points with them over a Houston Rockets team that defensively just completely struggles.
Big Al, the Nets have been a dumpster fire at home when it comes to covering the spread this season as favorite. And here they are as big favorites against the Indiana Pacers, who played yesterday against the Sixers and did everything they could to fight the good fight. And, didn't cover by much, but really the half-point cover counts as much as winning by 30 if you're playing the point spread. And the Pacers, well, I guess they won by 30 for some people. So I know on this show they did. So I think that was one team we all had in that one. O'Brien still apologizing for the Foles pick and the Simmons pick, but says that the Maxey pick offsets them. It's basically his justification. But anyways, that's a different story for a different day. Any of these teams that really need it, that maybe too big of a number out there?
Well, I've got this is a huge card for me today. I've got 7 pick dogs. Premium plays might end up having an 8th posted in a little while. But one of the games that I'm not putting up on the premium side that, I can talk about here would be the Cleveland-Milwaukee game. The numbers, it's up to 8 right now. I do like Cleveland minus the 8 against Milwaukee. Take a look at division games toward the end of the season, last 6 games of the year. Home teams are 42 and 24 ATS if they're off a double-digit loss, which Cleveland is, and their opponent, Milwaukee, is off a double-digit win. So it's a little bit of a reversal, and we're going to take Cleveland minus the 8 points. Obviously, Milwaukee doesn't really need this game, so Cleveland should blow them out.
Bryant?
Yep, I agree with what Joe said earlier and what Big Al just said. For me, out of this grouping, my favorite play is the Cleveland Cavaliers laying the points here. I don't think the Bucks will be playing anybody of any significance here, and the Cavaliers' chance to thump their chest. They have everything to play for. Earlier on, I like the Hornets laying the big number against the Wizards, who seem like they have checked out. I'm going to take the Pacers plus the points against the Nets. Nets have shown all year that they're not a great cover team at home. I think that's a boatload of points. So for me, I like the Pacers, the Hornets laying the points, and the better bet, I think, it's the Cleveland Cavs.
El Ninos?
Yeah, I have to agree with Brian on the Cavs being the strongest one of the bunch, just based off the number, and obviously the Bucks will be sitting a lot of guys out for this one. Bigger spreads on the other games, so the Hawks probably my next favorite, and the others I would look at them in the first half or first quarter even, because I don't see any of these teams that need the wins starting off slow. So I expect them to start strong and finish strong, but these numbers are getting a little big. So favorite play full game would have to be the Cavs.
I have my card of teams that I write down that I think are going to be pretty good next year, and Washington Wizards are right up there on that one for me. I think Kuzma and Beal missed a lot of these games towards the end, and Beal missed a ton for the Wizards this season. I think adding Porzingis, we've seen this team show some guts. They had that big blowout of the Mavericks, right? But beat them by like 40. So they certainly have the potential to do it. And they're definitely on my list of teams to watch for next year. They're on my Dayton Flyers list. I like Dayton in college hoops next year a lot. But I think Washington is on that list for me, because now you have 3 really good guys. When you have the 3 really good guys, then you have a good chance. It used to be 2 really good guys. First it was 1, then it was 2, then it was 3. Well, now they have their 3, and I think those are a good 3 to go to battle with.
You're talking about good straight up or good against the spread?
We're talking about good all the way around. They're the Washington Wizards. You're always going to get value on the Wizards. The Wizards have always been a great value team. They've always been a great value.
I think
team.
we might get some value on them. I don't know how many. I mean, they should beat up on the weaker teams. I don't know how well they'll do against the better teams, though.
Oh, they beat Dallas by 40 with everybody playing for Dallas and just Porzingis in for Washington. So they certainly have the potential to beat just about anybody on any given night. We know in the NBA, this is, Al and I had this discussion the other night that you can't make rhyme or reason out of this stuff these days, because you see even the very good teams lose by 40, 50 points, out of the blue. Not just the Brooklyn Nets either. I'm talking about like everybody, it just happens,
Milwaukee Bucks 153-119. I mean,
yeah. It just, you see it, big numbers, too. Really high scores. Like yesterday, Grizzlies 141. Yeah, so much for resting, before the playoffs. So, I don't know. I think in these days, in the NBA, they went 35-46, the Wizards this year. Right? They're 35-46 heading into today. That's really not that bad considering how bad this team has, this is the Wizards. This is not like, they have, where did the Lakers go? I mean, they have a better record than the Lakers, And the thing is that, when you look at a team like the Wizards too, so 35-46, basically, 5 games go the other way. And more than likely, they had 5 close ones in there somewhere where they had a chance. 5 wins, 5 games go the other way. They're a playoff team. I mean, that's how close this is, So I don't know. I kind of disagree with the better team thing. They've beaten a lot of better teams too. We'll be taking your money on the Wizards next year. You stick with your Dodgers run line. there. Anyways, I like that Garrett Cole. What a nice outing he had there. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
That's a good start. That's for sure.
got hammered. I tell you, the guys who, there's been a few starters out there that got hammered. I thought Syndergaard was pretty amazing last night. Off the DL. I thought Verlander pitched really well also. Made one mistake. Both those guys, battled. Verlander came out, struck out the first batter. It's like Verlander needed 2 strikeouts to get to 2,000 strikeouts against the Angels. Just against was 200 against the Angels? It was either 200 or 2,000 against just the Angels. It was like he got him in the first inning. He struck out 2 of the 3. Anyways, got the Grizzlies against the Celtics. This one's probably going to be pretty interesting. Celtics, I believe, have something to play for here as far as positioning goes.
Yeah.
Then we have the Knicks and the Raptors. Knicks, are the Knicks. We got the Heat and the Magic. The Magic have always played well against the Heat. They just seem to always play well against them. And then the 76ers and the Pistons. The Pistons have a chance to go out with another win as a dog against an Eastern Conference opponent. This has been their trademark of the entire season. Al Niños, what do you think of these 4?
Slightly into the Raptors here. I just think they're the better team. I don't think they have much to play for, do they? But no. But I just think they come out and get one more win to close the season out. That's about all I can say about this slot.
Al Niños kind of gave me the, hey, can you help me move this dresser response? Well, it's like,
Now, there's one game I can't talk about here, so I have to be careful with it. And,
we're among friends here. You can pretty much talk. How about you, Brian?
Oh, no, there's no slowdown with me here. I'm going to take the Detroit Pistons here plus the points. They've cashed 11 straight on the road. I think they're 18-3.
Wow, you have not been on the Pistons bandwagon either, as far as
I've been
this
on the Pistons.
streak
I've
is
been on
gone.
the Pistons. I've been on the
No,
Pistons.
you've been pretty much a curmudgeon about the streak's got to end somewhere. You really not been on
Well,
these
this is a
Pistons
different
recently.
situation. The Sixers really they still have something to play for here, but the Sixers are notoriously at least lately been a horrible cover team. Tons of trends against them today. So as far as free picks go, there's no reason not to back the Pistons plus the points. I think it's a 10-point win at best for the Sixers. And then I'm going to take the Boston Celtics laying the points. I think Memphis proved me wrong in the last game, but I think Boston much more to play for. I think they're just as good as Memphis. I think they get it done today with their full team going. So Boston and Detroit, 2 solid picks here in this slot.
Al? Big Al?
Well, I've got, again, a number of premium plays in this slot. I'll take a look at some of the games I'm not playing. One is the Boston-Memphis game. I'll probably echo what you guys have just said. Memphis, big difference here is Memphis played yesterday. Boston has a lot of rest. Boston hasn't played since Thursday. So you look at the end of the season, when you've got an unrested team off a win, playing a rested team. This just really favors Boston here. Memphis also scoring a lot of points yesterday. And also when you have an unrested team off a game where they scored more than 121, those teams are 39 and 69 against the spread when they're playing a 545 or better opponent that's off a straight up loss, which Boston is. Boston lost by 6 points to Milwaukee on that Thursday. So, it just really sets up really nicely for Boston here being the rested team at the end of the year, playing an unrested team off a lot of points. So I do like Boston minus the points at Memphis. The Miami-Orlando game, if you take a look at teams playing their final home game of the season, if they're off a huge blowout loss like Orlando is, if they lost by 20 or more points, those teams have actually covered 70% of the time in their final home game of the season if they're playing a really good foe with a 580 or better win percentage. So that would be Orlando in this situation. It would also apply to a couple other games that we'll probably talk about in a minute or two.
Joe?
For myself, I got to go on the under. Sorry, someone just popped into the green room. I was trying to get them in and talk. I can't do both. Hang on, let me just add Jovan. I'm going to go with the under between the Boston Celtics and the Memphis Grizzlies. I look at these two teams and I think Boston definitely should get the win and cover here. And I think Memphis, we're going to see a slower game out of them. We've seen Boston come in off rest, trending solid to that under, going 6-1 in their last 7 games on 2 days rest or more. And then we look at Memphis on those back-to-backs. They play nicely to that under as well. And then I have to agree with you guys on the Orlando Magic. I just think it's way too many points here for the Miami Heat to cover. 10 points seems like a lot when really what are they playing for today? So give me the Magic to finish off today strong.
Okay. Good morning, Jovan. We're on the Celtics, Grizzlies, Knicks, Raptors, Heat, Magic, and 76ers, Pistons. Any of these 4 do anything for you?
Kind
of catch them off guard here.
Not exactly, but to go with these 4, I would say, I don't know. I was looking at the Knicks. The Raptors can't move up or down. They're just playing on the Knicks are just playing out the string, but I would just have to go with the Knicks just on really not much than a hunch, to tell you the truth on this one. Philly, they do have something to play for, even though they could only get to a 3rd seed if certain things happen. You're going against a 10 or 11 game winning streak trend with the Pistons, so I really wouldn't touch that one. But just based on that. But yeah, the Knicks.
Yeah, I just can't stand the Knicks. I just struggle with them. That Nets game just still bothers me. It's probably going to sit with me for a couple of years. It really is one of those games that they were way up, and then so weird because we're testing out the live betting stuff that we're doing, and even when the Knicks were up by like 28, the probability wasn't even that high that they were going to win the games, which has to tell you something, which I haven't seen since must have been like 4 years ago. The Arizona Cardinals were up in a game 14-0 in the first quarter, and ESPN on their win probability still had a 98% chance that they were going to lose that game. And they got crushed in that one. But that was the year they ended up drafting Kyler Murray, the 1 overall. But anyways, I struggle with the Knicks here, even though I like the Pistons though with the points. It's like I've been riding this horse all season. It's like not everything has worked for me this year, but that has. I know that the Heat generally struggle with the Magic. They just do. It's just one of those teams that they generally struggle with. They don't lose to them all the time, but they don't cover all the time against them either. It's kind of it's not really a local rivalry, but it's a semi-local rivalry. I guess it's the closest team to them. And I don't know. I'm back on the Grizzlies. These guys have been really good to me, and I know that's not a popular pick, and that kind of makes it even better. I think it's kind of like what I said yesterday about the Grizz when we were all in such agreement on the game, is that, that they have a system now. It's like when Ja Morant went out earlier this season, the Grizzlies now have a system, and the system works, and they have all bought into it. And it's kind of like the way that, we were talking about this yesterday, Al, is that, this is not the best Spurs team they ever had. That's for sure. It's like, it's not even close. It's amazing that they made the playoffs. It's more of a testament to the coach, right? That they made the playoffs. And I think with the Grizzlies, what we saw here was a team that, has struggled to get over 500.
Mitch, the play-in round is not the playoffs.
It's more
not,
the playoffs than
it's not the playoffs. It's the play-in round to get to the playoffs.
I understand that, but they also have the potential to. The Spurs have a roster that was a potential top 3 lottery pick.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, they do. It's like, we're not going to sugarcoat it. It's like they don't really have those star players. They don't really have they had a guy and they got rid of him, right? They traded the guy to get the guy and then got rid of that guy. So it's like, that's what they did. Now he's in Chicago now. So, the Spurs they still, if they don't make the playoffs, they need a lottery ball to drop in their lap. I mean, they do. But maybe they pick some. This is going to be a pretty good draft, I believe.
And as we talked, I mean, they got 3 picks in the first round, so they'll improve. But they're still a long way away.
It would be nice for them if one of those picks was Tim Duncan. It's like it always works out really well. But we've got the Timberwolves and your Chicago Bulls. Love betting against the Timberwolves. Got Timberwolves the other night. I was finally on the right side of one of those with the Timberwolves. They had this gigantic lead. I had the other team. I think it was the Spurs. And who was it? It was Denver. I know it was Houston Rockets, maybe even. Yeah, it was Houston Rockets getting 13.5. No, it was the Spurs. It was Spurs just the other night. The Spurs were down big, and then they came all the way back, and then they lost by 6. Yeah, I think it was actually the last 3 Timberwolves games. I was on the wrong side of it with the Rockets. They were up by 25 against the Rockets. They won by 7. That was last Sunday. Yeah, it hasn't been a good relationship with me and the Timberwolves over the years. Timberwolves, Bulls, Pelicans, Warriors, Clippers, Thunder Buddies, and Spurs and the Mavs. Jovan, any of these 4?
Yeah, I was looking at the Timberwolves game. Neither team has really been covering, but Chicago Bulls, they just been horrible every game, just getting boat raced. And it has to be a lean towards the Timberwolves, even though they haven't been covering these spreads. I see the lines going down to a point from 7.5 to 6.5. So yeah, I'm leaning toward the Timberwolves. Basically the starting lineup for the Bulls is being rested for whatever, for the playing game. But why rest? They need to work the way they've been playing on the court. But that's the way the NBA is now. Big Cat's not playing for the Timberwolves. D'Angelo Russell, I don't know if he's playing, probably not. And Patrick Beverly's probably not playing. But yeah, Timberwolves.
Brian?
Hopefully I don't jump out of place here, but for me, I'm gonna go with the Chicago Bulls here. I know they're resting a lot of guys in this game, but they need to get their team on track. And I just think a 6.5, 7 is a lot of points here. I think it comes down to one possession win here for Minnesota. And a boatload of points here are the Portland Trailblazers against the Utah Jazz. Jazz have been a horrible cover team, and you're going to ask somebody to lay 17.5, even though Portland's horrible. I think the better bet in this time frame here is take the Portland Trailblazers plus the 17.
Jazz, ton to play for in this game. Al Ninos?
Yeah.
I was starting to agree with the Bulls plus the points because he's right. They do have to start working on their game. But I think I like the under better in that game, especially if Russell sits out as well, because they've got a lot of their scorers sitting this one out. I know they can play defense too, but I think they'll be missing more offense than defense here. So I like the under in that one. And that's probably my favorite play there.
Yeah, Jazz weren't really in this time slot, but that's okay, Brian.
I missed that one.
Bulls, Timberwolves, Pelicans, Warriors, Clippers, Thunder, and Mavs, Spurs. That's okay.
I messed that one up. I apologize. You have to shock me.
Because I was going to say the Jazz and the Thunder.
They're all in the same time slot. They're all 9:40 p.m.
Oh, all right, it doesn't matter. I was just trying to group.
I
3 or 4
apologize.
together. I was just trying to group 3 or 4 games together. It's okay. We could go free for all style. I don't. It doesn't matter to me. I was just trying to avoid the chaos. So we know how El Ninos gets. Could be here for a filibuster. Ruffalo style. It's like, you give Ruffalo the mic. It's like his 2-minute video is 17 minutes. It's like no one ever gets to give him the cross examination. It's like, Chris, what do you think of that pick? It's like, who asked you? Al? Ninos, what do you think? You can use any game on the card, I guess. We're going to go all the way here.
Oh, we're going all the way. Let me see real quick.
So you got to remember the Nuggets and the Jazz are tied in the 5-6 spots in the West.
Yeah, again, that's a huge spread though for the Jazz. Again, maybe my best would be first half or first quarter. But I think the Bulls under is probably my favorite play of these games. There's just not much value there. It's just crazy numbers. Obviously, some teams have some to play for, but these numbers getting way out there.
Yeah, the thing about that Jazz, and you mentioned the number, but as ugly as that number is, and as ugly as the Jazz have been against the number, right? They did cover 15.5 the other night against OKC, and the Blazers are actually worse in their last 10 against the number, and they've been getting these giant numbers all the way, and they haven't even gotten a whiff. They were getting 20 against Dallas last time out, lost by 50.
I just want to throw something out there. I can't speak for Mike Malone or Quinn Snyder or anything, but when you take a look, they're playing for the 5 seed, right? It's a 5 and a 6. So they're not going to have home court advantage regardless of if you're the 5 or the 6 seed. And is it really an advantage to be in the 5 slot where you're, in second round going to be playing the Phoenix Suns as opposed to the 2, 3, 6, 7 slot where in the second round you're going to be probably playing the Memphis Grizzlies? So that's something to really consider. I don't know if Utah could lose this game even if it tried, because Portland obviously isn't capable of winning a game. But, do you actually want to be laying 17 points with a team that may or may not even want to be in that 5 slot? I'm just throwing it out there.
I just think that, for me, the way I've been thinking of that 4-5 and all that other stuff, and, there's no easy games in the playoffs. And regardless, you're going to have to go through these teams that advance.
But fair enough. But still, take a look at putting aside the Jazz for now, just take a look at the Denver side of the equation. Denver plays the Lakers tonight. Denver won 3 out of its 4 games this season against Golden State, whereas it had a losing record this season against the Mavericks. So, but the problem is you don't know if Golden State's going to be the 3 seed or the 4 seed, because if Golden State loses to New Orleans, they could fall to 4. So you don't really know what's going to happen for sure. But if you want to assume that Golden State can beat New Orleans tonight, then Denver is in a much better position to be in number 6 than in number 5. I'm just throwing it out there. I actually like Denver a lot tonight, but what I'm really afraid of is that Jokic isn't even going to play, because they might just decide at the end of the day, let's just try to lose this game and not even give ourselves a chance to win. Or give ourselves the best chance to lose, because the Lakers are sitting everyone as well. So that's the only thing that I really worry about with Denver, is that I think that in their minds they really want to play Golden State in the opening round. They just have to try to figure out how to get there.
But the Golden State they're going to face in the opening round is not likely the Golden State that they've been playing for the bulk of the season, and I think everybody knows that. And kind of like the Nets, right? It's not the same Nets.
The most important factor in predicting postseason upsets in series is regular season success. And you can
because the matchups are the matchups. The matchups right. And the styles and all that stuff is the style.
And it's so stark when you look at how they did this year versus Golden State relative to how they did this year against Dallas. They want Golden State. The problem is can you guarantee you're going to get Golden State by losing or trying to lose against the Lakers? You might not if New Orleans beats whoever, because all these games are at the same time. That being said, if you just want to look at the Utah-Portland side of things, again, I don't know how motivated Utah's going to be to win either. 17 points is a lot of points. Portland coming off that 50-point loss. They're a home underdog, final home game of the season, playing a decent team with a 580 or better win percentage. As I mentioned, earlier in this segment, we've got that it's a 70% ATS system going back 32 years. It's got Orlando, it's got Portland, and it also has New Orleans against Golden State.
Yeah, we've got a major suck factor here though with the Blazers. They're just absolutely terrible. And I understand 17 points is ridiculous for your
they might be down 17 after a quarter.
Yeah, but they could be down 17 after the first 5 minutes, and no one's going to be surprised. And it's not like they're going to come roaring back either. this team has not come roaring back from these giant deficits. We've seen the Rockets do it. They did it to the Timberwolves because I was on the other side of it. They like huddled up and said, Mitch has actually has the Timberwolves this game. And, that was enough motivation. It's kind of like when Brian, feels that they sometimes call timeout and say, you realize that the public side is over here, so it's like, we can't possibly cover this spread, which could or couldn't happen. I always want to know what the official position of the official sports book of the Utah Jazz has in that game. But, I think to me, it's like, I think, when you start looking at playoff seeding, it's not necessarily the first round. I think the first round it's kind of like the NCAA tournament. That's the only round where seeding really matters. When you get down to the final 4 teams in the West, they're going to all good. They're all good. And I think that, even you look at these top 6, they're all good. The Jazz had a period this season where Gobert and Donovan Mitchell were both out. And that's why the Jazz are sitting where they're sitting, not because they're a bad team. When those guys have been playing together, except for recently, this has been a really good team. And, when you get past, I think, if the Jazz knocked off, a 3 or 4 seed, no one's going to be shocked. And, now all of a sudden, it's like, what if it is the Jazz against the Nuggets in the Western Conference Final? It's not out of the realm of possibility, but now you're talking that tanking this game, against the Blazers, cost you home court advantage in the Western Conference Finals.
I don't think anyone is going to be upsetting the Phoenix Suns anytime soon.
Well, you said that about Gonzaga, so it happened. It happened.
Yeah, but the NBA is a different monster than college basketball. It's not one and done. It's a 7-game
it's 4
series.
out of 7.
Yeah,
and
it's the Utah Jazz are they are so far from what they were last year.
You don't think that teams sometimes just get hot on hot runs and
in the NBA? No.
Yeah. Well, we saw the Miami Heat do it in the bubble. They went from the 4 seed all the way, and the Bucks did it last year where they weren't the best record finally, and they kind of got hot at the right time.
No, the Bucks won last year. It was almost I called them. I had them as my futures pick last year. I mean, I never believed they were going to win the title until they actually won that 7th game or whatever against Brooklyn, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to win. But I mean, the Bucks won last year. It was like an accidental champion. They wouldn't have beaten the Lakers last year, but the Lakers were injured. They wouldn't have beaten the Clippers, but Paul George and Kawhi get injured, and all these teams kind of just got injured at the right time, and that actually doesn't really happen all that often in the NBA, playoffs. So
the last 2 seasons in the bubble, it happened as well because the Heat, even though they made it all the way to the final, they had a lot of big injuries there. Remember, Damon Lillard was injured for the Blazers in that Lakers series after the Blazers had won the first game of that series. I'm not saying they were going to knock them off in the 7-game series. I mean, it's a reach, but they would have at least been a lot stronger at that point. So you see injuries; it's just part of the game.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, all I'm saying is if you're I think a lot of the coaches are just going to look at the first round matchup as the most important thing to try to plan for. I remember was it the Mavericks the one year where they wanted to. No, it was the Grizzlies. They want in 2011. They wanted to play San Antonio. Like the Grizzlies were tanking to get down to number 8 so that they could play San Antonio, which was seeded number 1 in 2011, because the Grizzlies matched up really well against San Antonio, and then they upset the Spurs. So these coaches will try to get the team they want if they can in the opening round of the playoffs. They'll worry about the later rounds later. So I don't know.
For my money, it's like not that I'm jumping on either of these teams today. I'd way rather have my money on the Houston Rockets than the Portland Trailblazers. I don't care if the Blazers are playing the Magic. This team has quit. They quit. It's kind of like the Brewers yesterday against the Cubs. They quit. I've never seen a team just quit in a game like that. Well, I've seen teams quit in games like that, but I was surprised to see it from the Brewers yesterday, where it was like it was cold, it was wet, it was like I don't want to be here. It's 9-0. It's like my wife at the ball game after the pretzel's gone. It's like I'm ready to go. It's like I'm good. That's what the Brewers looked like yesterday. But Anyways, that's the NBA card, and of course, we'll cover the total NBA playoffs, NBA playoff packages, the playoffs, the play-in, which is not the playoffs, but the play-in starts on Tuesday. It starts with the number 7 versus the number 8 teams. The winner of those 2 games on Tuesday night will be in the NBA playoffs as the 7 seed, and then the loser of that game will play the winner of Wednesday's games in the East and the West, and then those 2 teams, then the loser of Tuesday of each will play the winner of Wednesday of each, and that's on Friday. The winner of those games will be the number 8 seed, and as Al pointed out, we'll get to play the Phoenix Suns in the opening round and the other will play against the Miami Heat, who quietly, once again, getting it done. It's like all the talk has been Bucks, Sixers, and Celtics, but it's been the Miami Heat that are the number 1 seed in the East.
But in all likelihood, what we're going to probably get a rematch between the Cavaliers and the Nets, and that because all these teams probably are just going to win straight up, right? If you take a look at how big favorites do final game of the season, minus 11 or more points, those teams are 48-3 straight up, going back to 1990. So, all these teams are favored by a healthy amount. They all should at least win the game straight up, whether or not they cover.
Well, here's the question then that our audience wants to hear. Do you just take all these big favorites, parlay them up on the money line, and call it an afternoon? Even though you're playing, try and get even. Put enough of them together to try and get even money.
I mean, if you're laying 11 or more, obviously, Cleveland doesn't fall into that, but what's the payout? What's your parlay calculator say all those big favorites are going to pay?
How about first half money lines? Those are a bit cheaper.
No, because the first half is not the game.
It's not the game.
The net, you're gonna trust the Nets in the first half. I mean, they were down 28 against the Knicks. El Niños will be sponsoring our parlay for us.
And for what it's worth, I say those favorites of 11 or more are 48-3, but the last loss in that situation was 1997. I mean, since then, if you look after 1997, since that defeat, it is 40-1 straight up. So
the Brooklyn Nets are minus 2,500. You've got the Hornets are minus 850. You've got the Hawks are minus 800.
That's Mitch's wheelhouse right there.
The Heat, the Heat are not 11, right? The Heat are not 11.
Yeah,
the Sixers are, Sixers are 12.5. They're minus 800. Yeah, these are Bittler bets. You got the Clippers are minus 11.5. I think that one is dangerous. Only minus 620 on that one. And you've got the Phoenix Suns minus 14.5 against the Sacramento Kings. And then the Utah Jazz against the Blazers. $20 on those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams. A 7-team money line parlay. $20 pays $40.57. So you get 2-1 on your money, but you need 7 outcomes to do that. It's a tough day at the office, but according to the numbers here, it could be the easiest play on the board.
Could have some fun. I don't, like you said, the Clippers Thunder. There's a few in there that it could, but
yeah, I think the Thunder might have a shot there because the Clippers really don't have anything to play for, and they play on Tuesday. Same thing with the Timberwolves, 6.5 against the Bulls. They play on Tuesday also with nothing to play for here. They're locked into that game. They're hosting, and the Clippers are on the road, and it is what it is.
If you've got that at your sportsbook, throw 20 on it for me, Mitch.
I'm actually starting to really like the Warriors here because they need to win. No, not money line on the spread, because they need to win this game to secure that 3rd spot, don't they?
Right.
Because the Mavericks have the tiebreaker, right?
Yeah, but they don't want to play the Nuggets. So it's right. That's the issue. It works both ways, right?
Yeah.
It works both ways.
But-
So, but I think
don't know.
I think of these teams, the live dogs today here, the live money line dogs are the Thunder, and because the Clippers just have nothing to play for, and in the Bulls, and both these teams play on Tuesday. So while the other teams, like the Phoenix Suns, don't play until next weekend, they have a week off. It makes less sense for those teams to be resting players to kind of give them that kind of at least a final, scrimmage or something for at least a quarter or a half or something. Makes more sense for most teams to let those guys play because it's going to be a week before they play in game action again than it does for the Clippers or the Timberwolves, who, I mean, they got a game on Tuesday, a life or death, on Tuesday. And it's like, because you definitely don't want to play in that game on Friday if you don't have to. It's like, because now you're in Friday, you're in a sudden death. If you can win on Tuesday, you're in, and you don't have to play the Suns either.
Well, also, wouldn't Sacramento be a live underdog?
They would be against the Suns because the Suns have nothing to play for. But at the same time, it's the Sacramento Kings we're talking about.
No, I know, but that's my point. Like when you talk about those teams that are 11 or more, I mean, obviously, I don't have a strong opinion on the Phoenix Sacramento game either way, but I mean, I'd be scared of that because what does Phoenix has 0 to play for?
Oh, zero. But once again, they're not going to play for at least another week. So it's like, you got to let some of the guys at least scrimmage out there and kind of, go through the motions. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, but I mean, didn't Phoenix just lose about a week ago, as a big favorite to a garbage team? Who did they just play that they got? They thought a really bad team that they lost.
Your stat was for big favorites in general, or any big favorite, or big
over
favorites
11, over 11, over 11.
In the last game of the season.
They had something to play for, or any big favorite?
No, any
over
big
11?
favorite, even if they were out of the playoffs.
The Suns lost to the Clippers recently. They got blown out by OKC 117.
That was the game I was trying to think of. Right. So
they lost at the Grizzlies. So they've had a few.
So I mean, I would think out of all the underdogs today, that that would be the one I would think would be like out of all the big dogs, that'd be the one I think would be the scariest one. Would just be the Sacramento Phoenix game, just because Phoenix.
Yeah, but the issue for me is I'm good with another 6 months of not having to bet on the Sacramento Kings. I'm fine with it. It's like I'm in a good place there. It's like the Kings. I don't like teams that don't play defense, and it's like. So it's like I can't like the Sacramento Kings. I struggle with the Hornets because they're actually decent, but they won't play defense either. So they're not going anywhere. But it's like, why won't the Sacramento Kings? They just don't want to win, right? Is that what it's that they don't want to win? It's because if you look at the teams that made the biggest jump this season, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Memphis Grizzlies, right? You looked at those teams. What did they do? They D'd it up. Dallas Mavericks, same thing. D'd it up. That's how they moved up. The Knicks last year were the number 1 ranked defense. They're a playoff team. Now they're, in the middle. They're not, they're in the lottery, but they're not going to win. Well, maybe they will.
Isn't there
stranger things have happened.
I think there's you're actually right about that. I think there's a few players that have wanted out of Sacramento because they don't play like they want to win. Like it's really bad, like out there.
Well, it's like, I mean, all you have to do is look at the scores in the games. I mean, have you watched the Kings game recently? It's the Matador defense that they play. It's like the players, they're, it's kind of like in college, the old saying, it's like he's injured on defense, but he's healthy on offense. It's like, this is how the Kings play every single play, every single time down the court. It's like, everybody wants the ball and everybody wants to shoot and score. Nobody wants to cover anybody. It is just like, remember last year against the Knicks when Trae Young just had those drives right down the lane? It looked like nobody else was playing on the court. That's like the entire Kings game looks like that.
Yeah, that usually works better in soccer, but if you got NBA players doing that, it's not going to work out too well.
Yeah, because I mean, Trae Young did that to the Knicks last year. He made them just look like they were standing still. But the Kings are standing still. That's the whole thing. It's kind of like Arizona State, not this past season, but the season before when they had Remy Martin. that Arizona State basketball team, that was really one of the worst college basketball defenses I've ever seen. No defense at all. Anyways, 7 teams, $20, $40.57 cash money. Or you could just bet the Thunder on the money line, and $20 pays a lot more than that, plus 460 on the Thunder in that matchup. And the other team that we said, whoever's playing the Timberwolves, that would be your Chicago Bulls, plus 220. But the Bulls haven't beaten a team with a winning record in a long time. At least not covered.
Hey, what's the status of Steph Curry? Is he, due to come back anytime soon?
Last time he skipped the first round of the playoffs when he had this similar injury, and then he came back in the second round.
But have they announced anything with him?
He said he should be back for the playoffs,
but nothing more definite than that.
That's all. That was the last I heard, is that he said he would be back for the playoffs.
They keep it close to the vest in the NBA.
They get their bets in first, then they announce it.
Yeah, I mean, Golden State this year, I'm just looking at their regular season, series, against Memphis, they were 1-3. Against Phoenix, they were 2-2. They struggled against what do you call it? Denver going 1-3. I mean, Golden and against Utah, they were 3-1. I mean, Golden State, I could see them actually not minding falling to making sure that they were passed by the Mavericks and falling to 4.
Al, who do you think is going to be the surprise team of these playoffs?
Ooh, I mean, how big? What do you consider a surprise? I think a lot of teams are live. Yeah,
a team that's not the Phoenix Suns,
anyone other than
challenging in the West, or we've seen in recent series. I thought the Nuggets Jazz series in the bubble, was like one of the great series, and it's like I thought that year the Jazz were a little bit of a surprise in that spot, and then last year I thought the Atlanta Hawks, the way that they kind of came through, beat the Knicks, really gave the Bucks everything that they could handle.
Based on seeding right now, I would say probably the Jazz or the Nuggets, just based on the seedings. But if you want to go anything other than a favorite, I mean, the Grizzlies have been playing some great basketball. The East is been like, when's the last time we had the East be better than the West? I mean, maybe started a bit last year and so, but the East has a lot of good teams on there. Everyone down to the Sixers can win there.
Well, the Bucks won last year the championship, so the East was better than the West last year.
Yeah, but I mean, in the whole, the East as a whole, I mean, it's been dominated by the West for a long time.
Yeah, this is the first year that we're seeing West teams, at least in the play-in, with a losing record. The West, it's like the Kings have always been that number 9 team in the West, except now when it matters.
Seems like LeBron was comfortable in the East, and as soon as the going got tough, he got going to the West, and it seems.
Now he's probably headed east again, right?
I don't know. No, the East looks good for a while now. There's some pretty good teams that are looking like they're going to be together for a while.
We saw teams in the East like the Knicks, just totally regress this season too. That's certainly possible.
Yeah. But I mean, all the teams in the playoffs are live, to tell you the truth. I mean, the Raptors would be a complete shocker to me, but I've been against the Raptors and they proved me wrong quite a few times this year. So yeah, I mean, I think the Jazz are a lot better than they've played this season. And I'd like to see the Grizzlies win, honestly. I'd be surprised if the Suns win, to tell you the truth. I don't think the Suns will win.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big statement there. Jovan, you see any surprise teams this year, or you think it's just the Heat versus the Suns?
No, I don't. The East is up in the air. You have the top 4 teams who can all make a run to the finals. So that's going to be a dogfight in the second round. Now,
So you
then
think the
have
Sixers can make a run to the finals?
the
Because
Sixers can make
I
a
don't
run to
think
the
they
finals.
can do that. I don't
Listen,
think
they
so.
could make a run to the finals. It depends on who they get in the first round, and then the second round if they get hot. Joel Embiid, if he goes on a tear, they could make it to the finals, hands down. But you could say that for the first 4 seeds, in my book, and then you have the Nets.
You think he could be
they
a
look-
Moses Malone and just carry the Sixers on his back to the finals? Because I don't know if that's even possible anymore for one guy to do it. Because most teams have 3.
I mean, yeah, of course you're going to need some sort of help. The last time it's really happened is with the Dirk Nowitzki Mavericks. About a little over a decade ago. 2011 it was. So that was a one-man show, but yeah, I mean the Heat have a shot, Celtics have a shot, the Bucks definitely have a shot, but they're trying to avoid the Nets like the plague today. It looks like, which puts pressure on the Celtics in their game later on tonight. What do they do if the Bucks outright lose? They don't want to play the Nets, even though they match up well against the Nets this season. So it's a bunch of different scenarios. The Nets are a dangerous team. With how their season's going, and them being the potential 7th seed. So it's until the dust is settled and who the matchups are going to be in the East. There's really nothing definitive, but yeah.
Actually,
I don't see in the first round in the East. I don't see any upsets except for maybe the Nets. But even with the Nets, they don't play defense, and you need to play some sort of defense in order to make a run. That's the way I see it. You can't play no defense in the playoffs and expect to win. I don't care if Kevin Durant drops 50 a game and Kyrie Irving drops 45 a game. So
actually, I think the Nets could be a big surprise too. I mean,
I don't think that's a surprise. They're one of the they're one of the betting favorites to win the championship right now.
So yeah.
So it's not.
I mean,
like,
again, that was based on the standings, but yeah.
Yeah, but if you look at
Yeah.
at the actual odds to win the championship right now, the Nets are one of the favorites.
Let me see these real quick.
You go to the betting tools on sportschatplays.com. Look at the standings.
Heat huge plus money. Sixers huge plus money. Those are all worth a shot, I think. At 1,200.
The Charlotte Hornets plus 25,000.
No,
the Nets are just plus 350. They've actually dropped. They were plus 185. So they've about doubled up. The Heat, with the number 1 seed at plus 400, the Bucks plus 250. Now the favorites to repeat in the East. The Phoenix Suns are even money. This is to win the conference.
Yeah, that's conference.
Suns are even money to win the conference. The Grizzlies plus 650, the Warriors plus 450, and then it's way up there.
Yeah, but if you look at the championship numbers, you're getting great odds, I think, on the Grizzlies, Heat, and Sixers. The Nuggets and Jazz have stupid odds, but that's tougher.
All right. Well, Joe Madden, any surprise teams for you in the NBA? They have a chance to squeeze through, knock off the Suns, or emerge from the East?
I'd love to see the Raptors be able to do it. I really don't think they'll be able to pull it out, but I think it's worth an opportunity for them. Who do they end up playing in the first round of the playoffs right now? Do we know that yet or no?
Right now it's Philly, but that could change. And they do have a shot.
Yeah, they're gonna.
Philly. They match up well against them.
It's Philly or Boston, or even Bucks. I don't know about the tiebreakers there.
I think if I'm going to go for a team that could be a surprise, it would be the Raptors. Otherwise, I really do think the Heat has the Eastern Conference. I do think they end up wrapping it up. So I just like what we've seen out of the Heat. I think I think they're the strongest team, even though they're strongest in the rankings. I really do believe in their team and all the elements they have there. So I'm going to go with the Heat to take the Eastern Conference.
All right.
I'll just throw something out there. This is extremely unlikely to happen, but let's say Cleveland gets the 8th seed and plays Miami first round. Cleveland did win the season series against Miami 2-1. So I don't know if there is going to be an upset in the first round, but I don't even know if Cleveland's capable of beating Miami 4 out of 7, but they did win the season series.
It's an interesting matchup.
Get it done.
I think part of this, the season series stuff and all of that other, it's just once again who played, so are the matchups the same, and who knows, maybe Victor Oladipo will get in there for the Heat, have a big game.
I think defensively they match up well with them, but yeah, can they hang with them offensively?
I think the Cavs have been super tough this season. It's been a great year for them. They've been, they D'd it up, they played D, and this is what happens when you play defense. You win games. And, this is why I'm done with the Kings. I've pretty much have stated my case there. Beat it into the ground. But anyways, got Major League Baseball action. Al, you going to stay with us? I know you've had a long day and a long night.
Yeah, I'm going to jump.
I got a quick question for you then, if you are going to jump. Any early Derby favorite for you? We've got a lot of the prep races already out of the way. And all right, because you have it. Those of you that don't follow, Al generally will have a play on these Triple Crown races and on Breeders' Cup or something, and he hits at an alarming rate. He doesn't always bet. I think didn't you just have Placer show one time, but it was like a bomber, and he came in, and then you had. Ever since you've been on our site, I think you've had one loser and 7 winners or something in these
something
races.
Crazy. And the one horse that I had to place, they actually moved him up. That was the Baffert one that got disqualified. So the horse I had actually ended up winning the race, but we had it to place or whatever. But he never, you couldn't get paid on the win ticket just because Baffert's horse actually won the race or whatever. I can't remember how that all went, but. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. So.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. All right. Well, thank you for taking the time.
If folks want to take a look at what I have at Pick Dogs, I've got a 5-game package in basketball. I've got my Eastern and Western Conference Division games of the year. I'm on a 27-9 basketball run. So if anyone wants to take a look, it's a lot of good stuff on the final day of the season.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, talk to you on Saturday. Yeah, I'll be back. I'm going out of town. We're going up to north of LA with the family this week, but I should be back by Saturday.
All right, well, enjoy it. Okay. Enjoy it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that was Big Al, and of course, that was our NBA coverage for today. We switch modes a little bit. We switch over to Major League Baseball. Just if we're 3 games into the season, 3 days into the season, it feels like we're mid-season already, and that's the way baseball gets, right? It's already becoming a grind. We've already had our hearts ripped out. It just seems that, I don't know, is it me or is it just super chalky here to start? Super chalky. And I don't know, we're seeing 1 or 2 dogs here and there, but really that's about it. And mostly the favorites have been winning out. But we take a quick look at the card. Not sure what that noise is. There we go. Anyways, sounded like we're in a washing machine there for a minute.
Yeah, and I'm going to apologize, everyone. My internet is so bad today. Half the time you guys are sounding like robots. I'm not even sure what's going on in the show today. So I apologize.
We're just talking about you behind your back. It's not
okay, good.
Don't worry about it. Okay. It's business as usual.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. We got your back.
Awesome.
With the knife in it.
Nice. I wondered why it was achy this morning.
All right. Well, let's get to this Major League Baseball schedule today. It is always as always on the weekends. on Sundays at least, an early schedule. We got the Phillies and the A's somewhere along the line. Zach Eflin became a minus 215 pitcher. I don't know when this happened, but it did, and it is. Corey Kluber is now on the Rays, so we know he's probably going to be a Cy Young contender this year. He's up against the Orioles here. We've got Tarek Skubal, who we've seen really good stuff from, up against Michael Kopech, who is the wild card here for the White Sox, involved in that Chris Sale trade. This guy throws about 600 miles an hour. So, but who knows where he's actually going to throw it. He is a nut job. So, it should be an interesting one because, we'll get to it in just a second. And then we've got the Mets and the Nationals. Yesterday I said the Nationals were the worst team in baseball. Boy, they sure looked like it again yesterday. Joe, any of these four?
Yeah, I'm going to look at the Tampa Bay Rays game again, and I'm going to take the under in that first half again. We can get the under 4.5 at minus 118. And I think with this pitching matchup, we're going to see a lower scoring one. With Tampa Bay, I think they hold Baltimore to 1 run at the most in this first 5. And then I'm going to take the Rays in the first 5 innings as well. I was just looking up the juice on them on the first 5.
How about you?
So you can get them run line.
Oh, go ahead.
You said the favorites have been coming in at a pretty big rate, and I think we're still getting some decent prices on these favorites. I think they're going to be way pricier as the season winds down. But I think Eflin became a minus 200 when the A's became really bad. So I will take a small shot on them. You can take minus 1, minus 1.5, whatever you're into. Rays I really like minus 1.
So you think a team playing bad in 2 games makes Zach Eflin a minus 215 pitcher?
No, it's not about the 2 games. It's about the lineup they're left with now.
So you think that major league hitters can't hit Zach Eflin anymore? And so what are you getting on that minus 1.5? Negative odds, probably.
And minus 1.5 is minus 115.
Yeah, so it's horrible bet.
And they're at home. So
yeah. So if you bet the Dodgers last year every single game on the run line, we have already showed the chart. You lost $10. If you bet the Dodgers every single game last year, just straight up, you won 67% of your bets and lost 5 units.
Mm-hmm.
Very tough way to make a living. I don't know if Zach Eflin, if I like him that much. Brian, you're an Eflin apologist. You've long-time Eflin apologist. Minus 215 for you today?
I've been watching Eflin pitch for a while, and there's no way he's a minus 210 pitcher. He did have a very strong spring, but the Phillies, I just don't see – the Phillies lineup has been tough to handle, but this A's team – it's a professional team. I think they get to Eflin. I'm going to take the 1.5 with the Oakland A's here. I just think they can keep it within a run. I lost yesterday with Oakland. I'm right back at them. And you can call me crazy here, but I'm going to take the Baltimore Orioles plus the 1.5. Wells also looked competent in spring, and the Orioles, they've been competitive with the Rays. It's just not too much confidence in Kluber. And then Tyreek Skubal, the Detroit Tigers, I think he's pitched 9 consecutive scoreless innings. I know it's in spring training, but the way the White Sox have been playing, they're not I think the Detroit Tigers sweep them out today. So Tigers money line, Oakland plus the 1.5, and the Orioles plus the 1.5.
Yeah, Dalton Jeffries, I mean, he's a typical Oakland pitcher. I mean, this guy, they got rid of some big guys there, Bassett and Manaea, and it's like, they've done this before where they just plug these guys in and all of a sudden it's like, I don't see it. This to me is reverse run line. Anyways, Jovan?
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what Michael Kopech does. Known from his Red Sox days. He didn't really crack the roster or anything like that, but he came up for a cup of coffee. Yeah, I mean, he has good stuff, but it's just about his control. Can he control his pitches, his fastball especially? And I think he does against this Tiger lineup. in this game, to a certain extent. So I lean towards the White Sox in that one. Yeah, other than that, I wouldn't touch these other games with the 10-foot pole.
I would say for me, we're gonna know early in this Tigers White Sox game how things are gonna go. Right? We're gonna know way early because if Tarek Skubal throws the ball over the plate, he gets wrecked. I mean, you look at his games last year, and the games where he was found too much of the plate, he got destroyed. And in the games where he, picked his spots, he was super effective. But there's no in between with this guy, right? He either gets shelled or he's, because if he finds too much of the plate, it's a home run every single time, especially against this lineup. You had your turn. What's up?
Oh, I wasn't done with my turn. No, I like the White Sox too here. I think I don't know. I'm not a big Skubal guy, and the White Sox hit him really well too. So I think it's gonna be a long day for him, or a short one, depending on how you look at it.
All right, thanks, Al. For your opinion.
Anytime.
Appreciate it. It's appreciated. I don't know. Kopech, I think if he's on his game, and I think we saw him, pitch himself into trouble last year when he pitched middle relief, and he pitched himself out of trouble a lot of times. I mean, he's one of those guys that he can be his own worst enemy, but he has the stuff. He's way better than Dylan Cease. Way better. I mean, it's not even close. I love talking about White Sox trades. I'm a White Sox fan. Someone wrote in the comments of the YouTube video, "Since when are you a White Sox fan?" It's like, what? It's like, have you been watching my videos for the last 15 years? It's like, anyways. I mean, I've done videos outside of Wrigley Field, with my Cubs suck shirt on. Anyways, I think Kopech's got the high ceiling. I'm tiptoeing around the White Sox this year for the early going. Moncada, is going to be out for a little while. I don't know. How do the Red Sox fans, it's like they still have, so Chris Sale he got them the World Series, but Moncada and Kopech was a high price to pay for that. Just like, the Cubs got Jose Quintana, who, from the White Sox, for all they gave up was Dylan Cease and Eloy Jimenez. And it's just, I mean, it's like, why would anyone trade with the White Sox? They just destroy everyone. And we talked yesterday, Dane Dunning, Lucas Giolito, and like 5 other guys that are all like, major league players, all for Adam Eaton. It's like, why would you trade with these guys? They just destroy everybody in the trade. But Kopech, I as a White Sox fan, if he can reach that potential, well, he's the number one of the staff. He's that guy. So it'll be interesting to see. Dylan Cease pitched way better than I gave him credit for yesterday, but he will wear down as the season goes on. Anyways, I struggle betting against Skubal. He's beaten me a lot of times too. I think in this Nationals-Mets game, I think if you're going to the game at National Park, you're going to want to bring a glove. Carlos Carrasco has been terrible since, he's left Cleveland. He was really only good against the American League Central when he was in Cleveland. So he's going to get bombed. And, Eric Fede is, I mean, if he gets out of the first inning, it's usually a miracle, right? So Corey Kluber, I think, for the Rays, they just seem to always find the answer. So I'm going to guess he's going to have a big season. Zach Eflin, minus 215. No chance. 0 chance of that happening. Not on my watch. On principle alone. Going reverse.
I didn't hear the Mets and Nationals. I would have jumped on the Nationals. Damn it.
Well, it's a stinky game. It's, this is the Nationals' chance against Carrasco, but
I don't see Carrasco getting out second or third inning, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he's been terrible. So we have a really interesting one here with the Braves and the Reds. This is an interesting game today. And then we have the Blue Jays and the Rangers, which has been, the bat. Every time someone's up in that Blue Jays Rangers game, it's like it just seems like there's going to be a home run. It just, you get that feeling like the guy's going to hit a home run like every single time. Then you got Chris Bubik against Cal Quantrill in Kansas City. This should be a good game too, which doesn't make it a good bettors game. And the Mariners have been owning the Twins in this series. We go back to this Braves-Reds game, and Ian Anderson, number 3 overall pick, his year that he came out, and that was in 2016. He was the first round pick, number 3 overall. He has delivered on that. But Hunter Green, who goes for the Reds here, was the number 2 pick in 2017, and he has been absolutely horrific in the minor leagues. I mean, he stinks. This guy's a 4 to 5 to 12 ERA guy as a number 2 overall pick. But I think at a certain point, and I think this is just like, those quarterbacks that they draft, and it's kind of like, it's like eventually you got to see what you got. And, it's like, even though you kind of got screwed, eventually you got to see what you got. And I think that's what the Reds are going to do here. They're going to see what they got. But I don't think putting him in, I think maybe you put him here on the road where you can hide it because you're probably going to lose to Anderson anyway. I mean, I'm not really sure. But yeah, I guess, he was your number 1 pick. He was the number 2 pick overall. You got to see what you got, Jovan. Any of these 4, and if you, any opinion here on this Hunter Green,
Yeah, I was actually looking at Hunter Green, seeing what he's all about. And, he hasn't even sniffed. At least I don't think hasn't even sniffed the majors. It's all been single A, double A, triple A ball. Not very good stats last year in triple A. I think he posted like a 4 something ERA. But he must have showed something in the spring training, to be a starter in this one. Against Ian Anderson. The one thing about the Reds, and I took it yesterday, they're 3-0 on the run line. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm gonna roll with the Reds. Maybe put the Reds on a money line parlay. Just for for laughs. But yeah, the run line. The 1-run game.
Brian, Hunter Green is one of your type of guys. I mean,
maybe he's not one of my type of guys, but the Reds are my kind of team, and Jovan nailed it on that one. Reds might not be winning games, but they're covering games on the run line. I think plus the 1.5 today. I think they play scrappy baseball and keep within striking distance of Atlanta here. So for me, give me the Reds here on the run line.
Hunter Green got crushed last time out against the White Sox. Spring training. Al, Ninos.
I'm gonna have to go with another favorite here. I gotta go with the Braves. So -1 or -1.5.
-1.5. You're still getting negative money.
No, they're plus money on the -1.5.
Are they now?
Yeah, it's come down.
Yep, I think they're plus money now.
All right.
And yeah, I'd be careful with the -1.5s at home. So probably much stronger -1 for me. I'd put a little bit on the money line as well. I know it's up.
Where's Luis Castillo? Where the hell is this guy?
He'll be back. Don't you worry about him.
where's
That's one of my guys. I like Luis.
We know. We know all about Castillo.
Where's Dylan Bundy at? He's somewhere.
But I saw Bundy was on the varsity for someone. I forget who it was. It was they hit him somewhere in the rotation. But he's got a gig. He's got a paying gig somewhere. Joe, what do you think of this slot?
Not totally in love with this slot. I'd lean on my Toronto Blue Jays to cover that run line today against the Texas Rangers. I think they come out and get it done. I'd be leaning on the under 9.5 too. I don't see this being a high run scoring game. I think it stays under 9.5. I think I think it maybe hits 8 at the most in this one. So give me the under in that with a lean on the Toronto Blue Jays on that run line. That's about it in this slot, Mitch.
It's a nice slot. Anyways, this is the one day for me. I've been off the Blue Jays in the first 2 games, so I obviously lost both of them. But I think the Blue Jays here, you lay the 3.5 or whatever the hell it is. I think they absolutely tee off on the Rangers again here. And I like the under in Kansas City at 9 with Bubik and Quantrill. I think Bubik's one of those guys that kind of flies under the radar, but he's actually pretty good. So I like the under there, and I like the over in that Nationals Mets. Got the Cardinals against the Pirates. Bryce Wilson pitching. He's got a job. Bryce Wilson, got to remember, he was with Atlanta, I believe, last year. And he's the guy that, it was 2 years ago, he threw over to first base, missed the first baseman by about 60 feet, and threw it right into the stands. Yeah, just a bit outside. Other than that, he's got really good stuff. Steven Matz now with the Cardinals. Got the Cubs going for the sweep over the Brewers, who looked just absolutely disinterested. Like they wanted out of Wrigley yesterday, man. It was a cold, nasty day. They were getting slaughtered. They were just like, get me out of here. But Freddie Peralta, probably the best number 3 in baseball here, up against Marcus Stroman, who is 5 innings of disappointment, actually. Then you've got Antonio Senzatella. No? When has he gone over 5? Let's look at his pitching line and see how many times this guy's gone over 5 innings in his career.
I'm just saying he's not a disappointment. He can go 5 strong innings.
How is he not a disappointment? This guy was a former number 1. He was a former number 1 in the rotation.
He puts up good numbers. He put up good numbers for the Mets last year. Not tremendous numbers, but he's not
best
terrible.
40 pitches of the day. Marcus Stroman's outing.
I like Stroman. He's all right.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Because
okay.
He's one of those guys.
Up for him
all right. Well, here's the issue I have. And it's like I have this issue with a lot of, not a lot, but with a bunch of players. When they can't make their country's Olympic team, then they play somewhere else. And, it's like, well, my grandfather's from this place, so I'm going to play for them instead. And that's what Stroman does.
No. That doesn't have anything to do with this game. But as far as
yes, it does.
For his talent, I think he's a competent pitcher. I wouldn't pay him $30 million a year, but
you just like him because he was on the Mets at one point.
I'm not a Mets fan. I just, maybe you're right. I don't know.
They were your pick to win the World Series last year, and you still think they're going to win it. Last year. Giants against the Marlins. This has been a really good series. 1-1 heading into Sunday's game. Trevor Rogers. There. The pitching Rogers brothers. Kind of like the Zendejas brothers. Kickers. Then you got Antonio Senzatella against Arias. The Rockies last night. Bottom of the 8th. Home run for the outright win. That was sweet. Anyways. Julio Arias. Brian, what do you think of these 4 games?
No, I think the Pirates are the new lovable losers because you can't call the Chicago Cubs losers. They've won the first 2. And I would take the Pirates here on the run line because I don't think Matz is a minus 200 pitcher. In Pittsburgh, they haven't really sniffed a close game the first couple. I think they keep it close with the Cardinals here. The Cubs, I'm going to take Stroman. They've proven they could beat the Brewers in the first 2. And Peralta, this seems like a really light price to get Freddie Peralta at around minus 130. So for me, I'm going to take the Cubs on the money line. I'm going to take the Pirates plus the 1.5.
He's minus 130 because he's up against Stroman. And have you seen the Brewers the first 2 games of the series?
Yeah, they look lifeless, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Best team in Chicago, Cubbies.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Bryce Wilson, it's a gift that keeps on giving for me. So run line action on that one. Steven Matz, he should have a solid day today. I'm looking for Seattle to sweep out Minnesota, getting them up out of there at home. The Twins at home, getting them up out of there. I think Marco Gonzalez has a decent game. Bailey Ober, I've never been a Bailey Ober fan, so that's That's my rationale on that. So and I like, Colorado did me justice yesterday. I'm gonna roll with them again. They're tough at home. You know, Colorado at home. Just like any other year. So they get the job done. I think they get it done on with this good plus money action. So yeah.
Al Ninos.
Yeah. No. Numbers getting up there for the Dodgers. And that run line's getting way out of hand. I don't know if the Rockies can pull it off again, but at this point, I'll stay off this one. And I don't know. I kind of agree with Brian a little bit. I might take a shot with the Cubs here. And the last one was, where'd they go? Yeah, why not? I think you're getting some decent value on the Mariners as well.
Well, that wasn't in the slot. That was 2 slots ago, but that's okay.
Oh, I thought
it's okay.
You just went over it again. Sorry.
It's okay. Joe? She frozen? Well, let's just talk about her then. Find her back. You seen that hockey show? It's an odd look. We got her too.
She said she liked the Cubs. I think that's what she said.
She looks like
Cubs.
in the wax museum, like if she's in the wax museum or something. You ever see that? The wax, Madame Tussauds wax museum. It's our Joe Madden. We were talking about Joe Madden yesterday, the manager, and there she is. We got double Joe on here.
Double me? Wow.
Yeah, there we go. We were just talking about you. It was your wax museum figurine that was here with it.
I tell you, Mitch, my internet, I was looking it up. They're trying to make improvements within the area because there's major technical problems, is what it says. So I apologize, everyone.
Well, I have a solution. Mary Bryan, get your green card. And
I asked him. He said no.
Joe got down on one knee and proposed. Brian said no. He's playing hard to get.
Damn it, Brian.
I didn't say no. I didn't say anything.
Yeah, you did say no.
You didn't say yes.
You didn't say yes.
Say no. I'm not there in the spare bedroom. You definitely said no.
Yeah. What do you think of these 4 games, Joe?
You know what? It's scary to do, but I'm going to take the under between Miami and San Francisco in that first 5. It's 3.5, and we're getting that at plus 116. And I think it stays under that number in the first 5. I really do like what I'm seeing out of the San Francisco Giants. And I think that Miami has been playing strong too. So I think this is going to be a low run game. So I'm going to take the under 3.5. Hopefully nothing goes wrong on that.
Giants look to have the same issues that they've had in the past, and that is the bullpen. Looks to be a little bit of a problem here for them. Once again, starting rotation looks good. The bullpen looks super weak. I'm not a Stroman guy. I just think 5 innings of Stroman is not really just doesn't do it for me. Bryce Wilson. I mean. It's like, I don't know. Anyways, Angels against the Astros. We've got the Diamondbacks against the Padres. It's been a pretty good little series there. And the Yankees and the Red Sox, as the Red Sox look to avoid the sweep, sending Tanner Houck to the mound. Jovan, any of these 3?
Yeah, looking at this Red Sox Yankees game, I tend to say over for this game. The bats have been cracking for both teams. You had an under yesterday, but with a 4-2 game. But I think the ball flies out of the park in this one on Sunday Night Baseball. So I can see it going over that 9 right now as the total is right now. I think Houston bounces back. Off a good performance by both teams, both pitchers, did what they were supposed to do. So I just think Houston bounces back on that one. Not really a big Jose Suarez guy, so maybe that's part of my rationale for that. But yeah, those are the two that I'm looking at for this time slot.
Ryan?
Now, I love this slot. Might be my favorite slot. But as far as free picks go, I'm going to try the Boston Red Sox again today. Tanner Houck pitched 6 strong his last outing in the spring, and he's looked overall pretty good. I just think the Red Sox are going to be pushing hard not to get swept out by their most hated rivals, the Yankees. Red Sox have had a horrible history over the last 50 or 60 games in New York, but I think they get the W tonight.
El Niños, Tanner Houck. What do you have last year? 69 innings pitched, 57 hits, and 87 strikeouts. Kind of underrated with that 1-5 record. Anyways, what do you think here, Al?
I think I kind of like, as much as I hate them, I think we're getting some decent value on the Astros. And
You hate the Astros? Did I just hear that right? Why do you hate the Astros?
Because they cheated.
Yes.
That was
They
so
beat the
long
Dodgers.
ago.
They cheated.
Come on.
That will never go away. They're always going to be the
Because no one else has ever stolen signs in baseball. That's never happened, right?
Not like that. I mean, you're banging trash cans in the book. I mean, come on, man.
You're allowed to steal
I got news for you.
you.
Every time there's a runner on second base, they're stealing signs.
Yes, okay, but they're banging trash cans, and that's so bad. Like, come on. Yes, you can steal signs, but don't do it like that. That's just...
But you can't use technology to steal signs. That's the difference.
And that's bad too. But
You see, they're using technology for the pitchers and catchers to communicate now.
Well, that's
to
fine
avoid
because
that.
you're communicating what to throw and avoid those kind of problems. So I
Why?
like that.
but yeah,
Why is it
wait
okay?
till those get hacked.
Yeah.
But stealing signs, even growing up in Little League, you try to steal the signs of the other team up there.
Absolutely.
But it's different when you're using, technology to steal a sign. That's the difference.
Yeah, that might be.
I don't
even
see it
worse
being
than
any
banging
different.
The trash cans, but I mean,
Baseball's built on cheating. I don't. Hey, whatever. Baseball's built on cheating. It's been like that for generations. It's going to continue to be like that.
Yep. I think if you're good enough, then you're good enough. It's like just the way that it is. Joe Madden?
I love the Astros today. I'm going to go with the cheating team and go with the Astros here. I think they do win this one. I'm getting them at -115, and I like it against the Angels here. So I can go with the Astros. That's the only one I liked in here. I would lean on the Boston Red Sox as well at that plus money. I think they have the advantage of getting that win there. I think it'll be under the total too. Seen that line move down to 9, though I liked it a lot better at 9.5.
it's really juiced now.
Yeah. But Mitch, I do have to get in my vehicle here. I'm going to come on my phone so I'm behind the scenes so I can end the show for you guys. But I need 15 minutes. I've got to go drive. But if you're ending that 15 minutes, I can at least end the show from behind the scenes.
Okay. We're going to be wrapping it up pretty shortly. So that'll be awesome.
Okay, I'll be listening. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Thanks for joining us, Joe. We'll see you
I
in a
might
bit
pop
for
in when I come on my phone, but then I'll remove myself because I can't drive and be on here. Be a gong show. You guys would hear me saying all sorts of words that shouldn't be used on YouTube.
We'd rather hear you singing to the radio.
Oh man, that is really bad. That would be even worse. YouTube would totally demonetize you if I did that.
Joe's the country music fans. So
I am. I love
Shania.
country music.
I like country. I like country.
Feel like a woman.
Good one. I love that song. It's a good one. And then whose bed of your boots been under? That's a good one by her too.
We don't know that one. Only know
You don't know that one? Oh man, I'm not singing it.
Only know that feels like a woman.
Okay, you guys. Hopefully, I don't pop in when I come on my phone, but I might, and then I'll remove myself. But you guys have a great rest of the show. Thanks,
All right,
guys.
we'll see you for the premium and VIP shows.
Yeah, see you in 15.
That was Joe Madden. Now we can talk about her behind her back.
Oh, she said she was listening.
Damn it.
She can't defend herself, so we got that going for us.
I like the Red Sox in this one too. I like Tanner Houck here. I'm not a big Montgomery fan, so I'm on the Red Sox in this one against the Yankees to end the streak. There's Joe.
Wow. I think
Wow.
Montgomery's a stiff.
I think he is too. And I think the Padres Diamondbacks game is fairly interesting as well. But I'm not a big Caleb Smith guy. I think you take the Diamondbacks here plus the 1.5.
We're ready to go. Let me just.
We can hear you, Joe.
Sorry, I'm trying to get out of here. Apologize,
okay.
you guys.
It's okay. We're just talking about you behind your back. Anyways, I like Caleb Smith here on the plus the 1.5. More that I don't trust Blake Snell. You know, I don't think we've seen anything from him that says that this guy is going to come back.
You talk about overpaid bums. Blake Snell's an overpaid bum. He hasn't earned any of that money that he's gotten from San Diego. So definitely.
No, he has not. He's not gotten any of the money. He has not earned any of the money that he's gotten from San Diego, but he has at least had a some good years, you know. So, I mean, he got paid when he won the Cy Young Award. You know, it's not like he got drafted, got paid a ton of money, and sits on the bench like Ben Simmons. Well, Ben Simmons actually played, bricked a bunch of free throws, missed some layups, and
Ben Simmons might be the difference in the NBA playoffs. He might lead the Nets if he does come back for the playoffs. You never know; he could lead them to the Eastern Conference title with his defense.
You're right; he is a cancer to the organization.
I'm not a Nets fan or anything like that, but I could see the Nets doing well if Simmons came back. Then you'd have to eat your words if Simmons won the MVP of the playoffs. You never know.
If Simmons came back to play defense off the bench, maybe. No, I don't know.
Any of you guys watch any of this golf? Tiger Woods on the course here, 7 over. The books really cleaned up on this one. Tiger announced he was playing. A lot of people are like, I'll just put a little something on Tiger Woods, you know, to win it, right? The big odds. It's like it was this very popular bet there. And he's finishing up the track, as they say. But, you know, I think it's no small feat that he's even made it, you know,
I'm glad he's back.
Yeah, it's better. Golf's way better with him.
Yeah, Friday he started out slow. 3 bogeys in the first 4 holes and then came back, you know, ended up just maybe 2 over. But then yesterday was just you know, it went left real quick and couldn't recover. But yeah, it's always good to see Tiger on the golf course. He makes golf better.
He definitely makes it better. He's changed the game. He's changed the courses, you know, for all of us. And, you know, he's opened up the game to a whole new generation. And, you know, it's up to somebody else to step in now and carry that torch. You know, there's been a guy like that in every generation of golf. And I don't know who's next, because we haven't seen a guy that's been able to hang on to it like that. And maybe it's because Tiger's still, you know, still there, still has a viable product. Why that is, but it's like there was Arnold Palmer, then there was Jack Nicklaus, and then there was Tiger Woods. You know, there's a little bit of a break in between each of those, but there normally is a next phenom. We'll have to see who it's going to be. It's not me, that's for sure. I've played just a few times in the last few months. I'm playing today over at the Blue Course in Wailea, and
you could be the phenom.
I will probably.
Circuit.
I better bring my. I know what these guys I'm playing with. I better bring my checkbook, because it's like it's gonna be it's gonna be ugly. These guys are really good. I haven't played, so it's okay.
You got to start somewhere.
Well, you know, it starts by negotiating a couple strokes before you get started. That's it. That's where it's going to start. You know, getting a couple strokes. All right. Any parlays, any props, any home run, things like that? Any?
I got a parlay.
Anyone change? Brian, change your mind on maybe the Portland Trailblazers or something?
No, I don't. I mean, that's not one of my free picks I'm like in love with. I I don't see the Utah Jazz covering that one. But as far as my parlays go, I'm going to take the Detroit Tigers to beat up the White Sox again. Detroit Pistons plus the points, and the Washington Nationals get their first win on the money line.
El Ninos, any props, parlays, wild guesses?
Wild guesses. That sounds fun. Not particular. I mean, you could parlay a few of the bigger favorites in baseball, or like the Blue Jays. I think should win, and which one was the other one I liked a lot? Hold on, a second. The Rays, and if we are we doing NHL like separately now on the weekend? Sorry, I missed the show.
Oh, we didn't do NHL. We
Nope.
could do NHL if you want.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't really cover it. Neither does Jovan. But if you want to go over any of the NHL, feel free to go for it right now. Because Joe, I think, is doing pucking crazy.
Yeah, that's why I was asking if you're doing separately now, if you want me to give a couple picks. There's some picks there I think are decent.
Go ahead. What do you like?
I like the Bruins quite a bit. They're without one of their best players, but they do have the rest advantage here over the Capitals. I like the Penguins -1, and
So what's the -1?
I
What
like
is that?
to. It's basically when you're too chicken to take the -1.5.
Al's a
And
big -1 guy.
you
So are you
cover
playing-
whatever you're risking on the -1.5 with a bet on the money line. So whatever you're winning on the money line, whatever you're risking on the money line, you want to win on the whatever you're risking on the puck line, you want to win on the money line.
Isn't
That
that
way, if they
playing
win
not
that
to
one, it's a
lose?
push.
Don't you call that playing not to lose?
It's in a way, yes, but it's just I think in sports where, especially in sports where you score like 1 point at a time, it comes in handy quite a bit. Personally, from my experience, at least. At long term, it probably ends up value wise pretty much the same as betting them -1.5. It's just that I don't like losing by that hook one bit.
Sad and pathetic at the same time.
That is your opinion. Yes, you're entitled to it.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to give
The
out a home.
Stars should win too, sorry. But they haven't been playing great either, so I don't like them as much. But the Stars should win their game today.
You ever use the betting
Honestly.
tools for your hockey picks?
You know, I take a look at it sometimes. It's honestly, I would probably put it more into my game next season, just because I've been doing my stuff my way so long this year. And as you said, it's still growing. I liked it a lot, and as I believe someone said this too. It's more likely right now to keep me off a game than put me on one. But I'll definitely be looking at it way more next season. And well, yeah, it's interesting to see what it does later in this MLB season as well. Give it some time to get some data, as you had said too. I mean, it's hard for it to just give you out games without seeing any games, right, this year. So
Hockey picks have been straight fire. I use all my 7 free picks in just 5 minutes,
I
and
know.
people are, they're going crazy on it.
obviously, when I'm on the game and I see something that it agrees with, I like it that much better as well. So that's really good too.
Well, they have the bomb play today from the betting tools on the NHL is the Buffalo Sabres plus 275 versus the Tampa Bay Lightning, who have lost 4 games in a row in the favorite role. So
I like them plus 1.5, but I don't know about winning outright because they are getting a lot of value on that plus 1.5. They're plus money on it, and yeah, just Tampa's a bit overpriced tonight. But I think they do need a win, and this is one they can get. But I like the plus 1.5 a lot in that one.
Betting tools like them as well on the puck line, of course. If they like them to win outright, they sure as heck like them on the puck line.
Yeah,
and yeah, a lot of good trends here in the betting tools. I can't share my screen using this that we're using to do the shows, but I can show you guys later. You can see that the Colorado Rockies at the plus 1.5 here. The Dodgers have failed to cover the run line as road favorites against the have failed to cover the run line as road favorites 5 in a row. You're getting plus money and plus runs on the Rockies here. So one of the great value plays today in Major League Baseball.
That's going back into the playoffs last season, right?
Yes.
Or is it just the regular season? Yeah, it counts the playoffs, right?
Yeah, last 5 games.
It's obviously tough for games in the playoffs, but
Of course, today we still have our coupon. One more day. April win. I could have probably made it something a lot easier than that. Next month I will. I think I'm going to do a monthly coupon. You know, I'm not going to be one of these people that coupons every day and every week, but I don't see the harm in doing it once in a while. All heading into our Christmas in July extravaganza.
Biggest sale of the year.
Yeah, it is. It's Christmas in July. Anyone else have any parlays? Anything props?
I got one of those long shot parlays.
Go for it. Go for it.
Good 16-teamer. White Sox, Seattle, St. Louis run line, Cincinnati run line, Houston, Milwaukee Cubs under, and Colorado run line.
Do you know what it pays?
Absolutely not. I didn't put it in. Right. I just jotted it down just now.
All right. I know someone that bet this parlay today, so I know what it pays. And it is the Chicago Bulls money line with the Oklahoma City Thunder money line. $200 pays $4,290. Two-teamer. Against two teams. This is fading the teams that are playing in the play-in game on Tuesday with nothing to play for in this game. That's all it is. $200 or $20 pays $429. Yeah, $20 pays $429. $2 pays $42.90. Be there, be square. That's what I say. Go for a home run prop as well, since that's what I do. I think that you got to stay away from these from these cold weather spots. You know, it just seems that the ball's not really flying out of some of those parks there. But at the same time, I think we go back to Soto against Carrasco here. He just seems like another spot for another Soto home run. I'm going to go back to the well with Soto on a home run prop for the second time in 4 days. Brian, any home run prop?
No, I'll go with Sean Murphy, the Oakland A's, plus 430 to hit one off of Eflin.
Eflin. All right, I don't know if Joe's going to be able to take us off the air. I'm going to guess she is. But thanks, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate each and every one of you. Make it a winning day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.